Ken Brown has been indefinitely suspended from the basketball program for violation of team rules. So you guys are aware of that.
Is that as of today, or
Just today.
That's not.
So, any questions you guys have?
Just, I mean, regarding that, I mean, obviously it's got to be kind of disappointing because he's been kind of improving the last, few weeks, and he's been obviously getting a lot of minutes. I mean, what does that do for you guys moving forward?
It gives other guys opportunities. To be honest, I mean, it is disappointing that you have to deal with it anytime in the middle of the season. But it's it's going to make us stronger in the long run because other guys have to get some game experience and get thrown into the fire. And a couple of different roles have to shift toward the point position. So that's it's been a problem in terms of our point guard play, but it's also an opportunity for someone else to step up.
Is it something where he's going to have a chance to make right whatever went wrong, or is it something where you guys at this point are ready to completely move on without him?
Well, it's not complete move on, but it's a very it's very serious and really all I have for it right now. I can't talk about specifics, but it's serious in nature, and continue to talk about the standards that we have for our student athletes and living up to them. And these guys aren't perfect, but they do have to show improvement. They do have to try to do what we're asking.
Jamal only played 7 minutes on Wednesday. Was that still, I guess, from the hamstring injury, or what kind of played into those limited minutes?
I think just his confidence isn't very good right now, and he's playing, with like that. And I want more aggression level out of him, both on the defensive end and the offensive end, without the careless turnovers. We're searching for that guy. We're searching for that consistency at the point, and not, once again, not to play perfect, but the ones where we're just coughing the ball up. And I want some body language out there with someone with some confidence. And I have never lacked confidence in Jamal, but when you see it on the court and he's looking not confident, I have no, can't keep him in the game in those types of situations.
Not gonna, Mike Gabbard's a guy that's gotten some minutes here and there, but is he, maybe one guy will maybe kind of step in and get some more minutes now, and has he made some progression?
Well, he has made progression, and you can potentially see him in the lineup some. I want him to take advantage of this opportunity. He has the last couple of days of practice, and he's continuing to get better. And he's a freshman, so it's not easy, and he's got those jitters, but I think he'll get over that and contribute.
Going forward to the game itself, what did you guys get out of practice yesterday, and then what do you expect again today? How's everything moving forward? I know you guys were happy you got a win, but you had a lesson to be learned there. How's stuff going forward from here?
I tell you what, we've had the last couple days, as you're not playing well, and the coaching staff and the players are really trying to figure out exactly what we have to do better. And everyone knows what we have to do better, but we're not happy with how we're playing. So we had a senior-only meeting, myself and the seniors, and had a great talk about all the different things that go into a new basketball team with 7 new guys and different mentalities and different backgrounds, and really had to put a lot of stuff on the table. Just had a good, healthy discussion about where we're at, where we want to be, and most importantly, how do we get there. And that senior meeting went to a team-only meeting to try to correct some of the little things that come along with the growing pains that go into a season and becoming a team and creating chemistry and understanding roles and all those things rolled up in one. And it is a process, but I think we would all agree as a program we're not happy that the progress isn't a little bit better at this point.
You guys, or you'd mentioned a couple weeks ago, maybe it was earlier this week, that one of the things you guys need to understand is that you've got to go and swing for each other, so to speak, and start playing for each other more. Has that been a problem? You talked about chemistry. How's that going? And is that something that needs to improve on and off the floor for these guys going forward?
Well, I think any team, I think any team, when new guys are coming into the fold, they really have to, between the lines, they have to like each other and play for each other. We do have a lot of different personalities on this team, and sometimes you have to step back and say, okay, you know, yesterday we were talking, you know, Juan comes in, and in a year's time, he's got a very strong personality that people on the team gravitate to. You know, Pet's been here 4 years. He's still a young adult, and he has to cope with the fact that guys gravitate to Juan, even though Pet's been in the program 4 years. Now everyone respects Pet to death. They know what he brings to the table, but he's not an outgoing personality. Then you got Serge, who's an outgoing personality, who's been in the program 2 years. Same thing. Cliff, who has made a 180 turnaround from the way, you know, his understanding how hard to play and playing a role that's not, you know, not a very glamorous role. So you throw those 4 personalities in the mix, and that's what we're really trying to focus on. The seniors have to get themselves consistent and right, and I think that'll trickle down into the team. And you know, those are all, once again, it's all kind of normal stuff when you have a lot of new guys playing together for the first time in big-time competition. And part of the growing pains, I think that will help us as the year goes on.
Kind of going with that, you talked before about, I don't know, especially like when we talk about point guard, you talk about the maturity level of the team, but just from the senior, kind of going with that, from the seniors down, are you seeing any improvement in the level of maturity of some of these guys?
I think baby steps. You know, I think, which is kind of an ironic word, but you know, I think you're seeing small strides. I think that's what I alluded to before, where you're not happy overall, even though we've made, you know, a little progress here, a little progress there. We should be further along right now with some things that you would have hoped, but you know, not surprised. But at the same time, you want to do better. You want a better effort and a better progress out there at this point.
Has it come to some guys that just come down to you or whoever challenging them to kind of just grow up here at this point, if with some of these habits and things like this?
I think.
Or is that just?
I think so. You know, the message is improvement, and you know, maturity is always important. It's always important. Every team I've been a part of, from a player to an assistant to a head coach, you have maturity issues because you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids. They're not going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to be emotional. You know, that's a big part of our business, dealing with the emotions that go along with, you know, high-level basketball. You know, we have high expectations. We take on a big-time schedule, so the emotions and the expectations get even more emphatic because of who we take on. I mean, you can go out and play some teams and give yourselves a lot of confidence and add 2 or 3 more wins to our record, but at the end of the day, have you really gotten yourself better? Have you really put yourself in adverse situations where you were forced to kind of mature? And that's part of the process.
Look ahead specifically to Southern Illinois. You know, this team you're obviously familiar with. You played them back-to-back years. Personnel-wise, how are they different? How are they similar from what you've seen in the past?
Well, I like this series. I think their coach is very fundamental and does a good job. I think this is going to be a very physical basketball game. I think their strengths right now are probably on the sheer size advantage they'll have. They've got developing talent, young developing talent that over the last couple of years they're getting better and better. I got to believe they're going to really try to expose the inside, get that ball inside and play 15 feet and in and rebound the ball really well. Got someone coming, you know, a guy coming off the bench that scores a lot of points that can hurt you. But you know, this is a game I think that the war in the paint is going to be the deciding factor in the game. And they're physical, they're talented, and I think they have a toughness about them. It's kind of been their identity since I've known about Southern Illinois. And this is a great series for us. It's good for our fans. It's good for our team to see where we're at on the interior, both from a defensive standpoint and a rebounding standpoint. And this should be a good one. This should be a good battle.
Is this a good time for a group like this? Because even last year, this team it was down, but it was still a game over there that they're not going to give you a whole lot of room for mess ups and mistakes. That's just how they play. Considering you guys have had growing pains and that sort of thing, you got to figure this game should tell you guys a lot about yourselves. I would imagine, and because if you don't have it, they'll put it on you.
I think so. And it's what is ironic is that the last 2 times we've played them has been somewhat of a turning point in our season. I remember 2 years ago, I took Pitt from the 3 and put him at the 4, and we started playing undersized, and we just played hard for 40 minutes and had a chance to really turn around our season a little bit, and went on to beat Louisville, beat Georgia, and really started understanding what we wanted to be our identity. Not only talking about it, but going out and executing it. Last year we were struggling and went up, and my whole thing going up there was we just got to be competitive or we'll be embarrassed tonight. And we really played hard. I mean, I just remember coming back being so relieved that we put the effort out and put ourselves in position to win the game. I think it was a 5-point game.
Yes.
And it was a great effort though, and the guys felt better about themselves. We're at that point now again. I think we're getting some effort. We got to get more mental effort. We can't beat ourselves, and we got to continue to get better. We can make a big jump tomorrow against a good basketball team, and that's what we're looking for.
Sergio's practice effort, I guess, was what you said was the main reason for keeping him off the court the other day. I guess since then, how's he been in practice?
He was really good. We had a good talk, a good healthy talk, and I've never lost any faith or belief in Sergio being a huge part of our success in our program. He was down on the fact that he couldn't be out there more the other day in the other game against Bowling Green, and we talked about specifically what my expectations were for him and continue to be, and where he can get better. And he handled it like a true senior would. We shout at each other. We just, it's good to get stuff out sometimes that builds up over time, and we had a great talk, and he got right back on track with a great practice yesterday. He also was very vocal as the team talked together, and sometimes it's just good to get stuff off your chest. Once again, every team I've been part of, you always have those sessions where once again they're kids, and we're you're dealing with emotions, and sometimes high, sometimes low. You can never think it's too bad. You can never think it's not too good. It's too good. And he had a great practice yesterday. I expect him to bounce back today and have another one.
Is he even putting too much pressure on himself, maybe a little bit? What's been the problem, I guess, for him? Because he had started out so well in that game, and couldn't miss.
I think it's part of it. I think that's part of it, and I think there's times where your role evolves into a bigger role where there are more expectations for him. I do expect him to be a very consistent defender because he has the ability and he has shown he can do it. But when there's consistency, not really bringing it in practice on the defensive end, that's where I think there's a lack of focus and a lack of understanding what I expect from him, and as a senior, what he should be out there doing. We talked a lot about that, and I think he's definitely understands that he's got to do better that way, and he probably does put too much pressure on himself. Probably thinks about stuff that he doesn't need to think about. Sometimes in the meeting we talked about last year and the year before, and that's good to use examples from those times. But this is also, there's time to address what we have to address right now, what the team needs from you right now, what your role is defined as right now, and that's where the focus point has to be.